The dinner rush had ended, and the little cafe was quiet enough for Ethan to hear the soft hiss of the espresso machine. He was wiping down a corner table, his mind already drifting to the grocery list he'd need to fill before picking up his 8-year-old daughter from his neighbor's apartment. His feet ached from the double shift, and he knew there was still another hour before closing. That's when the glass door rattled against its hinges. Ethan looked up to see a young woman outside, her hands gripping the wheels of a sleek, black wheelchair. The wind had picked up outside, pressing the door shut with stubborn force. She leaned forward, trying to nudge it open, but the door didn't budge more than a few inches. Without thinking, Ethan dropped his rag and jogged to the entrance. "Here, I've got it," he said, swinging the door wide. The wind swept in, cool and sharp, carrying the faint scent of rain. She rolled inside, her cheeks flushed from the effort. "Thanks," she murmured, brushing a strand of chestnut hair from her face. "No problem," Ethan replied, letting the door ease shut behind her. He noticed the slight tremor in her hands, the careful way she positioned herself so her chair wouldn't block the walkway. The cafe's warm lights painted her in gold as she scanned the chalkboard menu on the wall. But he saw her eyes flick away quickly, almost like she didn't want to admit she was unsure. "Take your time," Ethan said gently, stepping closer. "If you want, I can walk you through the specials. Or, well, I can roll you through them if we're going for theme." Her lips curved into a small smile at his awkward pun. "Sure, I haven't been out much lately. I don't even know what I'm in the mood for." "That's all right," he said, crouching so he was eye level. "We've got a killer caramel latte. People swear it's like dessert in a cup. And the soup's homemade, chicken and wild rice. Perfect for a day like this." She hesitated, then nodded. "The soup sounds nice." "Got it," he said, jotting it down. "Anything to drink? Just water, please." As Ethan moved behind the counter, he found himself glancing back at her. She sat with her hands folded in her lap, her gaze drifting toward the window where raindrops had started to pebble the glass. There was a quietness about her, but not the peaceful kind, more like the kind that came from being left out of the world too long. When he brought her order, he noticed the table was a little too high for her to eat comfortably. Without asking, he slid it a few inches away and brought over a smaller side table. "Here," he said, "this one plays nicer with soup bowls." "Thanks," she said again, a little more warmth in her tone this time. "By the way, I'm Ethan," he added. "Lily," she replied. "Well, Lily, if you need anything else, just wave. I've got superhuman peripheral vision." She chuckled softly, and Ethan walked back to the counter with a small smile of his own. For the next half hour, he kept an eye on her, not in a way that hovered, but in the way you keep watch over something fragile you hope will grow stronger. He didn't notice the man in the tailored suit in the corner booth, quietly watching the whole exchange. Ethan had just finished wiping down Lily's table when he noticed she was ready to leave. She maneuvered her wheelchair with practiced precision, but he saw the faint stiffness in her shoulders, the small wince when she pushed the door open with her elbow. He wanted to help, but she seemed determined to do it herself, so he held back, letting her claim that small victory. The rain outside had softened to a drizzle, the street lamps painting glistening puddles across the sidewalk. Ethan was pulling off his apron when a shadow fell across the counter. "You're Ethan." The voice was smooth, calm, but carried an undertone of authority that made Ethan glance up. The man standing before him looked like he belonged in a boardroom, not a neighborhood cafe. His navy suit was perfectly tailored, his shoes polished to a mirror shine. There was a subtle weight in his presence, like he was used to rooms quieting when he entered. "Yeah, that's me," Ethan said, cautious but polite. "Can I help you?" The man extended a hand. "Daniel Hayes." Ethan froze for a fraction of a second. The name was impossible not to recognize. Daniel Hayes was in every business magazine, the billionaire founder of a tech empire. But what was he doing here, in this modest corner cafe? Nice to meet you," Ethan said, shaking his hand. "Did I forget to bring you your coffee or something?" Daniel's mouth quirked upward in a faint smile. "No, I've been here for the past hour, watching." Ethan blinked, unsure how to respond to that. "You didn't know, but the young woman you served earlier, that's my daughter, Lily," Daniel continued. "She was in a car accident last year. It took away more than just her ability to walk, it took away her confidence, her independence. Since then, she's barely left the house, and when she has, people either look at her with pity or avoid looking at all." Ethan's grip on his apron tightened slightly. She's been through a lot. Yes, Daniel said, but today, I watched you treat her like she was just another customer. No hesitation, no awkwardness. You didn't hover over her or speak to her like she was fragile. You made her laugh. Do you know how long it's been since I've seen her smile like that? Ethan shifted, feeling the weight of the man's words. I didn't do anything special. Just talk to her. That's the point, Daniel said, leaning forward slightly. You were yourself, and that's rare. Ethan raised an eyebrow. So, why are you telling me this? Daniel reached into his jacket and pulled out a small card. Lily needs someone in her life who will treat her like a person, not a patient. I'm offering you a position as her personal assistant. You'd help her with day-to-day activities, therapy appointments, even just getting out into the world again. Ethan stared at him. I'm a waiter. You're a father, Daniel said firmly. I know you're raising your daughter on your own. That means you already understand patience, responsibility, and how to put someone else's needs before your own. Those are qualities money can't buy, and they're exactly what Lily needs right now. Ethan's throat tightened. I can't just quit. I've got rent, bills. Daniel cut him off gently. The pay is more than enough to cover all that, and you'd have far more time to spend with your daughter. This isn't charity. It's an offer because I believe you're the right person for the job. Ethan's mind raced. It sounded too good to be true. He'd spent years scraping by, working back-to-back shifts, missing school plays and bedtime stories. But this could change everything. Still, a knot of hesitation twisted in his gut. Why me? You could hire anyone. Daniel's gaze was steady. Because anyone can follow instructions. Not everyone can reach someone's heart. And I think you already have. The cafe's clock ticked in the quiet between them. Outside, the drizzle had stopped, and the air smelled of wet pavement. Ethan looked at the business card in his hand, the simple black letters spelling out a name that had the power to open almost any door in the world. Think about it, Daniel said, adjusting his cufflinks. Lily liked you. That doesn't happen often. He left without another word, the bell above the cafe door chiming softly as he stepped into the night. Ethan stood there for a long moment, the card heavy in his palm, wondering if this was the kind of opportunity that only comes once, and whether he was brave enough to take it.